Hello and welcome to Illustrator. If this is your first time opening this program, I just want to note that this is going to be empty because these are your recents, so over here, this is populated with projects that you've been working on in the past. So this is some stuff that I've been working on in the recent past. And what I really need to call your attention to here is this right over here, which is new file. This is what lets you create a new document, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. So I want you to click on new file, and that opens up this document dialog box. Over here you can see recent file sizes that I've created, or really page sizes. And I just want to also call attention to the different template sizes. This helps you if you're designing something for a specific size. It also has some pretty cool templates. If you're excited about making projects after this class, you should definitely go for it. For this class, you're not going to really need any of those templates. We're just going to be creating letter size documents. So you could either go to print letter. That's going to put you in points, and I'm going to talk more about that in a second. But you don't ever really need to go for these. You can always just fill in whatever settings you want with the preset details. Okay, so let's look at some stuff over here. Over here where it says points, these are your units of measurement. I always like to have my units of measurement in inches because I understand inches a lot better than points visually. So I find that to be a lot more helpful. We're going to be working on a letter size document, so your dimensions should be 8.5 by 11 inches. Now, I want to show you here, this lets you change the orientation of the page. So this swaps the 8.5 to 11. It doesn't really matter for right now which one you do, but I'm just starting with portrait because it doesn't matter, and this is a default. Over here, this is bleed, and this really only matters if you're printing things, which we're not going to be for this project. And you can keep all of these other things the same. Something that you should definitely do upon starting every project is naming it. For this class, you are going to be naming every project with your name and then whatever the project is. So I'm going to be calling this one SD test. And then you hit create, and here you have a whole new document. If this is your first time opening Illustrator, this is what it will look like. Over here on the left, you have your toolbar, and here on the right, you have your panels. The tools let you create and modify your shapes. The panels help you also modify your shapes and change things about them and move them around. And those are, for everything you're going to do, is going to either be from the toolbar or the panels on the right. Now you can actually move these if you prefer things floating. I happen to really not like it, but I do want to show it to you because sometimes people take it out by accident. So this is how you would put it back. You would just hover until it turns blue, and that's how you take it out and put it back. Okay, now over here, I find that it is easier to work when you've made a workspace that is more personalized to you. So let's just go through the things that you're going to need just for this project. And here's what they are. Properties panel, that's super important and you want to keep it. Something you don't need is your libraries. I happen to like working with my libraries a lot, depending on what project I'm doing, but for this class we won't need them, so it's better to get rid of some clutter. Now I want to look at my layers at the same time as I want to look at my properties. We're going to talk about layers in its own video. But here's how you would be able to see them together, is by having them stacked. So I'm going to move this, so you see how I'm hovering it at the bottom? So now I can see layers underneath properties. Over here, this is the windows, and these let you get more of your window panels. And I'm going to direct you to the ones that we're going to need for this project. You can obviously experiment with any of these. They all do lots of different cool things, but these are the ones you should start with. So I'm going to start with artboards. This, by the way, is your artboard. We're going to talk about that in a second. and I'm going to put artboards right next to layers. You don't often need, and I'm going to close this, you don't often need layers and artboards at the same time, so they work pretty well next to each other. And now I'm going to open up Pathfinder. Let's find it. It is alphabetical, so that should help. Pathfinder, Align, and Transform are all together, and I don't actually need these nearly as often as I need properties or layers or artboards. So I'm actually just going to stack it over here underneath comments, which you don't really need, but whatever. And that's going to help us find those later. And I'm also going to take out color and swatches. And these I'm also going to stack underneath. And we won't need these for a while, but I just like to set up the workspace. And if you want to save this workspace, you can go to Window, Workspace, and then call this workspace with your name. I'm going to call it SD Intro to Graphic Design. Okay, so now we have our workspace. I want to show you about shapes, layers, fill, stroke, and that's going to be in the next video.